With the November 3rd general midterm elections barreling towards voters in just 176 days, states continue to evaluate how their congressional maps should be drawn. The U.S. Supreme Court decided in Louisiana v. Calais that the Pelican State did not have a justifiable reason to create an additional majority-minority congressional district. The court's conservative majority said that there was no compelling interest that justified the state's use of race in creating a district as required by Louisiana law, and that the map created by a 2024 state law is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. Last week, justices denied a request from civil rights plaintiffs to recall its judgment, leaving in place the court's decision striking down Louisiana's congressional map. Well, that led Louisiana lawmakers to hear public testimony Friday on several proposed congressional maps, including one with 2 majority black districts, one with no majority black districts, and 2 with only 1 majority black district. The Center Square, Louisiana reporter Nolan McKendry reports the legislature is expected to vote on the maps this week. Friday's meeting was tense from the start. The committee recessed twice. 2 lawmakers got into a shouting match.
You think it's just pure coincidence that you don't even know the percentage of African Americans in your district, but yet you go around the state trying to eliminate positions of leadership held by African Americans? What do you respond to people that think that you have something personally against African Americans?
I can't help what people think, but I know this.
Perhaps they're looking at your actions.
May I answer the
Senator,
question?
I'm going to have to intervene again on behalf of the chair.
Well, I'll waive my questions. I want to hear from the public. You're suggesting that I called you racist. What I'm suggesting is that we look at the body of your work this session. So let's look at the totality of your work. Your work has eliminated the elected seat of an African American in the city of New Orleans. Your work has eliminated the political power of numerous elected officials in the city of New Orleans. And so as the courts review it, I asked them to review your work. I'm not trying to make suggestions about your heart, but I will talk about your work.
You're not going to...
Now, protesters filled the hallways chanting familiar slogans like "No justice, no peace." Democrats are facing a change to the landscape after that U.S. Supreme Court ruling striking down Louisiana's current congressional map, which includes 2 majority black districts. That ruling has opened the door for lawmakers to reduce the number to 1 or potentially none. Republican leaders have reportedly been expected to preserve at least 1 majority black district. Other states are also being impacted across the country. In the aftermath of that SCOTUS ruling, California lawmakers, they're speaking about how they see the landmark decision affecting the Golden State's elections this year and in the future. The Supreme Court of Virginia Friday struck down the state's redistricting amendment 4-3. Virginia's congressional maps are to remain in place for the 2026 election cycle. And that decision wipes out recent results from the April 21st statewide referendum, which voters had approved by 51.7 to 48.3%. Now, while some may think that's because of the SCOTUS decision and a majority opinion written by the Virginia Supreme Court Justice Arthur Kelsey, the court ruled the General Assembly violated the Virginia Constitution, requiring a constitutional amendment to pass through 2 legislative sessions with an intervening general election between them. The court found lawmakers approved the amendment October 31st, 2025, after more than 1.3 million Virginians had already cast ballots during early voting in the general election. In Arizona, the Republican majority there contemplating legal options to redraw that state's congressional maps in time for the 2028 elections. Senate President Warren Peterson telling the Center Square Wednesday that the legislature is considering litigation to compel the Redistricting Commission to convene and redraw their congressional maps. In Florida, 18 voters where congressional maps have been redrawn by the governor and approved for implementation, they've asked a judge to be disqualified from proceedings in their lawsuit against the state over their maps. The complaint says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' map, quote, cracks the Democratic-leaning cities to favor the Grand Old Party, or the GOP. Florida is somewhat paralleled by Virginia, Georgia, and New York as states involved in litigation over maps. Maryland's bid for a new congressional map died in April without making it out of a legislative session with majority Democrats in each chamber. Down in Tennessee, their new congressional maps also facing legal challenges. The Center Square Associate Editor Kim Jarrett reports the Tennessee Democratic Party announced its suit Friday, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee. Now, Republican lawmakers there said that the redistricting was done to give the state another Republican in Congress. The NAACP disagreed. The organization filed an emergency petition in Davidson County, seeking an injunction barring the new map from being implemented. Now, where does all of this go from here? Be sure to stay up to date with your state's map-making issues by getting the newsletter in your inbox at thecentersquare.com.